cleaning offices at dawn, cooking for a local cafe by day, and doing laundry for neighbors at night. Her only reason for pushing through the exhaustion was her 10-year-old son, Daniel, a bright boy with an even brighter smile. Daniel had a habit of seeing the good in everything, even when there wasn't much to see. Their home wasn't much bare walls, a flickering fan, a mattress pushed into one corner, but it was filled with laughter. Every morning, Daniel would polish his shoes till they gleamed. Even if his school uniform was worn thin, he attended a private school in Victoria Island on scholarship. The other kids arrived in sleek SUVs, while Daniel came on the back of an Okada. Clutching his school bag tight, he didn't seem to care though. He had one friend who made him forget the world's unfairness: Amelia, the daughter of a well-known tech CEO, where Daniel's shoes had patches. Amelia sparkled with new polish, where he carried old notebooks. She had tablets and smart pens, but they clicked instantly. Amelia loved Daniel's humor, his honesty, the way he could make her laugh when she was bored of luxury. Daniel loved that she didn't treat him differently. They'd eat lunch together under the mango tree behind the school, swapping stories and snacks: his home-cooked jollof rice for her imported cookies. One afternoon, as the school bell rang, Amelia turned to Daniel and said, "You should come to my house for dinner this weekend." Daniel laughed it off. "Your dad's house? I'd probably get lost before I reached the gate." But she wasn't joking. By Friday, Daniel came home holding a small card, an invitation embossed with gold lettering. Nkechi froze when she saw the address. It wasn't just any home. It was in Banana Island, the wealthiest part of Lagos. That night, she couldn't sleep. What would they wear? What would they say? What would people like them even do in a place like that? She almost told Daniel to cancel, but when she saw how excited he was, she decided otherwise. Maybe, just maybe, it was time her son saw that dreams didn't always have to stay dreams. Would you let your child visit a billionaire's mansion? Or would you be too scared? Have you experienced this? Comment below. Hey there, my wonderful family and friends, welcome back. If you're ready to dive into today's story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. I love seeing where everyone's watching. And guess what? There's another amazing story coming your way tomorrow, one you definitely don't want to miss. Alright then, let's get started. The following Saturday, Daniel wore his cleanest shirt one his mother had pressed 3 times over to make sure every wrinkle disappeared. Nkechi tied her headscarf tighter than usual, her palms slick with nerves. They took a taxi through streets that grew quieter and richer with every turn. By the time they reached Banana Island, Nkechi felt like she had entered another world. The air even smelled different: less smoke, more sea breeze. The house was enormous, its white marble glistening under the sunset. Daniel's eyes widened. "Mama, it's like a palace." Amelia ran down the steps barefoot, laughing as she waved. "You made it." Her warmth instantly melted some of Nkechi's fear. Inside, the house felt more like a museum than a home. Glass walls, grand chandeliers, and an art piece in every corner. Still, the moment Daniel started chatting with Amelia, the world felt normal again. Dinner was served by staff in uniforms. Nkechi tried to act composed, carefully watching how everyone else held their forks. The CEO himself, Mr. Grayson, walked in midway, tall, calm, and intimidating in the quietest way possible. He smiled politely at them, asking Daniel a few questions about school, about his favorite subjects, and about his mother's work. His voice was deep but gentle, like he was used to being listened to. Midway through dinner, something unexpected happened. Daniel said, "Sir, one day I want to build a company like yours, but for kids who can't afford school." There was a pause. Then Mr. Grayson leaned back, studying him carefully. "That's a good dream, Daniel. The world needs more people who remember where they came from." By dessert, laughter replaced tension. Nkechi found herself talking with Mrs. Grayson about raising children, about faith, about the strange way life brought people together. When it was time to leave, Mr. Grayson walked them out personally. But before they reached the car, he handed Nkechi an envelope. "Don't open this now," he said softly. "Read it when you get home." That night, under the flickering light bulb of their small apartment, Nkechi opened the envelope. Inside wasn't money, it was a folded letter and a single key. The letter said only one line: "For Daniel's dreams to grow, he needs space to breathe. Welcome home." The address printed beneath was for a modest house in Lekki, fully paid for. Nkechi dropped to her knees, the key trembling in her hands. If a billionaire gave you a house as a gift, would you accept it or be afraid there's a catch? What would you have done? The next week felt like a dream. The house in Lekki was small compared to a billionaire's mansion, but for Nkechi and Daniel, it felt like paradise. There was running water, constant light, and a tiny garden out front where Daniel planted mango seeds. The neighbors were kind, the streets safe, and for the first time, Nkechi didn't wake up worrying if she could pay rent. Still, something inside her couldn't rest. Why would a man like Mr. Grayson do this for them? Daniel didn't seem bothered. He was thriving, his grades shot up, he joined the debate team, and even started tutoring kids in the neighborhood. Every morning he'd say, "Mama, this house feels like hope." But one morning, everything shifted. A sleek black SUV pulled up in front of their gate. Mr. Grayson stepped out, holding a file. He looked serious, almost nervous. "I hope you're settling in," he said, his usual calm voice now uncertain. "There's something I need to tell you." He sat them down at the dining table, the same one they had eaten their first breakfast on in their new home. "I didn't give you this house out of charity," he said. "I gave it because I owed it." Nkechi frowned. "Owed it? To who?" "To you," he said quietly. "Years ago, when my company was starting, I had an employee named Chidi, your late husband." Her breath caught. Mr. Grayson continued. "He was one of the few who believed in me when I was just an idea with no investors. When things went wrong financially, he gave up his savings to keep the business alive. I promised I'd repay him someday, but before I could, he passed." Nkechi felt her eyes fill with tears. For years, she had blamed life for taking everything. Now, she realized her husband's kindness had planted a seed that bloomed years later. Mr. Grayson smiled faintly. "Daniel reminds me of him, the same fire, the same heart." That night, Nkechi lit a candle for her husband. As the flame flickered, she whispered, "Your dream didn't die with you. It's just starting." If someone repaid a debt to your family years later when you'd long forgotten, how would you react? Have you ever received unexpected help? Months passed, and the house in Lekki became more than just a home, it became a gathering place. Daniel's small tutoring group turned into a community center. Kids from nearby streets came to learn, eat, and dream bigger. Amelia visited often. Still the same cheerful girl who had started it all. She'd bring books, gadgets, and once even helped Daniel set up a small computer lab using refurbished laptops. But just when life seemed steady, a new shock came. One evening, Mr. Grayson's assistant arrived unannounced. She handed Nkechi a sealed letter, this time in Mr. Grayson's handwriting. Inside, it said, "By the time you read this, I'll be stepping away from my company. I've chosen a new board initiative, the Daniel Project, focused on funding education for underprivileged children across Nigeria. You inspired this. Your son reminded me that legacy isn't built by money, but by hearts that dare to give," and attached was another key. This time, it wasn't to a house but to the community center next door, now fully built and furnished under their names. The Daniel Learning Hub. Nkechi broke down crying, not out of sadness, but gratitude. Daniel just smiled. "Mama, maybe this is what Dad wanted all along." Weeks later, the entire neighborhood gathered for the grand opening. Music, laughter, and prayers filled the air. Mr. Grayson stood quietly in the crowd, smiling unnoticed. As he turned to leave, Daniel ran after him. "Sir?" Mr. Grayson looked back. Daniel handed him something, a small, handmade bracelet with the words, "Thank you for remembering." Grayson took it, eyes glistening. "Note, Daniel," he said softly. "Thank you for reminding me." The camera pans to the sunset over Lekki. Children's laughter echoing as the center lights flicker on. A mother's hard work, a boy's friendship, and a billionaire's forgotten promise had come full circle. And somewhere in the distance, under that golden sky, faith in humanity felt restored. Would you do this if you were rich? Tag someone who needs to see this faith in humanity restored.
Thank you for watching all the way through. If this story moved you, the next one will surprise you in ways you won't expect. Go ahead and click the video on your screen. Your next story awaits.